Okay, I spent probably at least 3 hours yesterday mixing one song because I was having to watch some tutorials and stuff on YouTube. And I mean, I've done mixing, but honestly, there's so much stuff in there I end up just winging. If you know anything about music or mixing or mastering or any kind of sound engineering at all, there's a lot of stuff in there. You really need to know what you're doing. And it's a whole different art by itself. See, there's my project. So it's not just about recording music and just laying down a bunch of tracks and then playing them and controlling volume. And that's what I've always done. I've done a little bit of stuff with EQ because, I mean, come on, who doesn't know how to work an equalizer? You're in your car. You either want more bass, you turn the bass up. You want less, you turn it down. You want more treble, more highs, you turn it up, turn it down. And then everything in between is just variances of the two. It's kind of just a spectrum, right? So an EQ is pretty easy to figure out. But you don't EQ everything the same way. Well, I just did what I thought sounded right. Well, the problem is, it sounds one way on my headphones, one way on my speakers, one way on my phone, one way in the car. So that's where mastering comes in, which is again, another art. Compression. All these different compressors. Which compressors are good for what? You don't necessarily need to use the same type of compressor you would on vocals that you would use on, say, a snare drum or something else, or a guitar. There's different, and there's no one way to do it. There's so many different ways to do it. So there's compressors, and then there's reverb. You can just use reverb. You can do it the wrong way. Then there's the whole process of how you do it. If you don't do it the right way, you end up with so many plugins going on that it's just real hard and intense on your processor. So I'm tired of winging this. I need to learn how to do it the right way. So I had to start watching all these like master classes. Only they're not master classes. What they end up being is lots of opinions on the internet. Too many. Just like everything on the internet, you don't get the stuff you need for what you're trying to do. So what I did was I thought, you know what? Let's just start with this one. I'm having a problem with vocals. So I learned to do 4 passes on vocals. Go find all the best stuff. Chop up, keep all the best parts. It's called comping. I didn't even know I had a name for it. So I did that and made sure I wasn't pitchy, fixed all those kind of things. Then you get some volume problems. I thought, okay, I can automate faders to fix some of that stuff. Or there's some other tricks to do that. But now let's get into the mix itself. Let's start with drums, right? So I started mixing drums. So I had to watch a class on that one. And there's so much different information out there. You should use this type of compression for this. So there's long-winded 30-minute videos on how to do mixing for drums. And the guy gets into all of this detail about how to do it for the kick drum, and then how to do it for the snare, how to do it for the toms, how to do it for cymbals, etc., 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 and go on for 30 minutes or more. And then you go to another group, another video, and the guy's going, I'm going to tell you the only 4 things you need to know, and the rest of it's crap. I'm like, well, I never believed that. Somebody wouldn't spend 30 minutes showing you all this stuff if what they had to say was crap. So, but I'm going to watch this guy's video. Those problems I find watching those kinds of videos is they just kind of skirt over things that matter. But really, it just depends on what your project's for, really. If you're going into a studio to record something and have it mixed and engineered and mastered, all that stuff, and it's going to be for radio airplay, record companies are paying a lot of money for producers to go through and do that stuff the right way. I mean, and they're not using just a $10 service. They're not doing that. There's a reason why they do that, because you're paying for their experience. They can hear something and go, okay, before I even do anything, I can see all of the things that need to be done. But then they're going to ask you questions. Where do you want to go with this recording? There's a lot of nuance. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen. A lot of discussion that goes on. And then in the process, there's probably a whole lot of discussion that goes on. So I never feel like there's a silver bullet for anything. But at the same time, I'm not a record company with a huge budget, and I don't have a ton of time or resources. I have a very limited amount of time. I have the resources that are on hand, a really small budget. I don't really have to say I have a budget anymore because I have what I need. So I don't feel like that I need to throw more money at tools and stuff like that to get the job done. I can get the job done with what I have. The outcome is, as a independent artist who's just wanting to finish a very large body of work and have it where it's presentable, that's probably the farthest it's going to go. I mean, I'm not looking to, hey, I'm going to get all this stuff on the radio and start playing big gigs and traveling. I have no desire to do any of that. I just want to finish my work and say, look, I did that and I'm proud of it. And that's it. That's really my goal. So how much pressure do I want to put on myself on going through all these videos? Because then there's the drums and there's how to mix bass and guitars. And then it's like, well, that's really broad. Guitars, bass is one thing, but guitars, I mean, what kind of guitars are you talking about? Are you talking about electric distorted guitars? Are you talking about acoustic guitars? Are you talking about something along the lines of like a jazz type guitar? You know, there's a lot of different stuff. And you're not going to watch one video on how to do it the correct way. It's all opinion, and there's just so many ways to do it. So I think really it's going to come down to just trusting my own ear, my own instinct. Because my point is, I spent 3 to 4 hours mixing all this stuff last night and got it where it sounded pretty good in my headphones. And then I played it on my speakers today after I've given my ears the full night's sleep and rest, and just come back to it fresh and just play it through one time without touching anything. And it sounded like muddy, muffled garbage. And that's very frustrating. You spend that much time on something, and when you get done and you walk away from it, come back and listen to it with fresh ears for it to sound like just, I can say this, the vocals and all that stuff sound so much better. So that was a very good process I went through. But so much of it is just tedious, man. I mean, it's tedious. And you're like, okay, this guy's changing this stuff. Why is he doing it? He explains to you why he does it. But you're thinking, yeah, well, that applies to that instrument or that track the way you did it. It's, I don't know, it's very broad. I really think it's just experience. You got to do this stuff over and over and over and over and over until you just know it. It's like math, right? Just do it over and over and over and over and over. By repetition, you'll start to get the hang of it. But man, I got a lot of other stuff I want to work on. I don't want to keep working on the same song forever, but yeah. I know one thing I did learn. I learned to get myself organized. So what I've learned to do is I'm using buses now. What are buses? Well, these things pick up kids from school and take them, no. Anyway, there's my, I used to have a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And I'm using groups too. For example, here's my drums. Everything's under one thing, but if I use this and click that, all of those are drums. They all have different things going on. You see that? Instead of me using the same thing over and over and over, right here, I've summed everything up. Oh, it's going to pinwheel on me here. Anyway, I've summed everything up, and I can do just one simple thing to affect everything here. And same way with like guitars. I've got guitars on all of these tracks right here. I don't know how many tracks it is, but there's several tracks here. I think it's 1, 2, and 3. 3 tracks of guitars. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And I've grouped them all together. I don't have any things going on here because they're different parts of the song. And I could change the levels for the different parts of the song depending on what's going on. And I do want that functionality, that flexibility. But I've got my effects happening on the main thing here, and I'm using buses. So I don't have to have 50 different reverbs going on. I can go all the way over here and have, I've got my reverb here. I've got a delay, a different type of reverb, and a different type of delay. And I can reuse those over and over in all these tracks. Anyways, that saves a lot of power, processing power. And that's more information than you need. But I am trying to work on this stuff. Here's my desk at the moment. It's kind of messy. Why is this here? Oh, because I didn't want my drink to be sweating on my desk. And we bought some new Star Wars swag today. Kelvin finished his heavy-duty Taekwondo test today. So I said, hey, let's go to the store. And that's what he got. He got some stuff. He hasn't opened it yet. Anyway, so yeah, there's my desk. There's my desk. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep coming back to it until I get it right. But I'm not going to kill myself trying to get it absolutely perfect. An engineer can do that. I can't. And when I get done with this thing, as far as mastering goes, I'm going to go through the process and try to learn the mastering, but I'm not going to try to be proficient with it. I think all the stuff I did for the mixing gives me a very good understanding of how to do that stuff to get it to a good place. But now I have to step away from the tutorials now and say, okay, just use your ears and come back and try to do this without looking at anybody else's stuff and just apply it to your own music. So I'm going to go back again, start from the drums, and I'm going to go in and start kind of tweaking it, get the, where I think it should be, not based on some tutorial. And then again, do the bass, the guitars, the piano, all that stuff, and then the vocals. And then when I get done, then I'm going to go back and start learning how to master, watching a bunch of tutorials. And I'll probably do the same thing when I get done with that. Go back and see if I'm happy with the results. If by that point, if I'm not completely happy with the results I've done with the mastering, then I might turn to a service like emaster.com, pay $10 and have it instantly done, because I don't want to keep spending hours trying to get this right, because I've got a long list of songs that I would like to finish that I started on long ago. So that's what I've been doing. I've got here we go. Here's my little list of things to do. These dates are off now, but so this album, it's 9 songs. Spur You On is what I've been working on. Then I've got another song, another one. They're all in various stages. Most of them, music-wise, is everything's recorded. I've got a little bit of guitar work I'll get from some people I know, but they're busy and they don't work for free. So, and if I can't get them, then I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'd like to have real guitars on my music, but eventually you got to finish it, right? Eventually you got to say, I don't like to compromise, but that's just one album. That does not include, let me go over here. Where is my automobile? No, I'll show you, I've got a big list of stuff here. What is going on with my machine here? So basically I want to go to my Google Docs. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Jerry Markham Music. Project schedule. This is way old, but just take a look here. Look at the dates on these things. 2015, 2017. These were goals back then. Thick and Thin is the album you just saw. Last time I had touched it back then was 2017. That's how long it's been. And then I've got another album right here. So I've got a bunch of those songs to do. And then I've got this album. It's got all these songs. I don't remember what the color keying was for, but you see I've been working on this stuff. And I want to go back and redo the vocals for Calibrate and mix it and master it properly, because I've never been happy with that. So there's that. And then there's the piano CD. I don't know if I'll ever get, it's probably 10 years before I actually get that thing. But anyways, there's that. And then there's another thing on here I have, which is, let me pull up here. I made a playlist. Yeah, my computer's going slow. Probably because I have so much stuff turned on. I have Jerry Markham. Here we go. Playlists. Analog tape. 1 hour and 47 minutes. 25 songs. These are not going to be heavily processed. These are old ideas I never brought to fruition. These first here, right here, is like from 1990 to 1994. And then you have a bunch of songs from 1995. I guess I was very busy that year. And then 96 to 97, all of those. So those are all the songs that were obscure, and I never planned on putting them on like an album or something, or a CD. But they were mostly done. It's like, well, I might as well go back and actually finish them. Those are all coming from analog tape. That's why I've named that analog tape. So I just want to bring them into the digital world, clean them up. I say clean them up. I'm really going to redo everything. But I'm going to try to keep them pretty much as is. I might do a little bit of stuff, maybe update the instruments a little bit and sing, maybe update the vocals. A lot of the vocals are, I just don't like the vocals. Sorry, I don't like the lyrics. And then, anyway, I've got a lot of work to do. As you can see, a ton of work. And I can't be spending 8 to 9 to 10 hours on one song every time. So I'm trying to get this process down and basically build myself a little template so that I can just keep going in, keep going in. Now, there's different style of music, so they're not going to all use the same template. Obviously, I'm doing like a piano vocal or something like that, but some of them very heavy, like kind of progressive rock type of stuff. Some of them very pop. So they're all going to require different degrees of stuff, but the fundamental stuff is what I'm trying to learn right now. This is already a very long video, so that's it for now. And if you have any tips on how to get stuff mixed, never mind. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of tutorials and tips, man. Just, hey, if you want to come mix my stuff and you're really good and you want to do it for free, thank you.